Lauren recently spoke with our Alan Holdren, who's now the newly appointed EWTN Bureau Chief in Rome, about his experience covering the Vatican.
Welcome to Washington, D.C.
It's nice to be here.
So nice to have you. You are a Cornhusker State boy, born and bred, and you are now Rome's Bureau Chief for EWTN. Tell me how that happened.
If you ask my mom, she'd say Providence, right? and I feel the same way. I was engaged to be married to an Italian, and I got engaged in August, and in, I think, October of 2009, I got the job offer to go to Rome. So it came up right in the right moment. We got married that year.
And your mother is really disappointed because you're not in Nebraska, right?
My mom's from England,
oh,
so
all
it gives her an
right.
excuse
So
to
you're just
come
a
over.
potpourri, so she's fine with all of that. You've covered two popes, three popes?
Two popes.
Two popes, right. So you've covered Benedict and now Francis. What is the difference? What are the challenges in covering those popes?
You know, with Benedict, the interesting thing was there were so many people that had such strong opinions about who he was and what he said. And if it was a negative opinion, you'd ask them, have you ever read anything or listened to anything he said? And the answer was inevitably no. So you'd invite them to look into it a little bit more and then give you an impression. It was so hard for a journalist just to get somebody to read what he was saying and to understand it. Beautiful messages. Everything he said, everything he did was so meek and so beautiful, so well studied, but he was so misunderstood. With Pope Francis, there's this interest in people just seeing who he is and what he's saying, what he's doing, even if it's just a little soundbite, because he speaks in soundbites. He's an amazing communicator, but his gestures, his closeness to people is really so communicative on its own. So they give him that chance.
I remember meeting him and just feeling this aura of peace. You've traveled with him.
Yeah.
What is it like to travel with him, and what have you learned about him on your trips?
It's nonstop. The man,
yeah,
he's 80
that's
years
true.
old, but
he did 20 different visits here in Washington.
Yeah, it was, I mean,
Washington, not just New York and Philadelphia.
It was on an 8 or 9 day total trip. He came from Cuba before that. You're dealing with jet lag. The fact that we as journalists sleep probably 4 or 5 hours max a night when we're traveling with the Pope. He has this schedule that just keeps on going. He meets with people, even when he's not meeting officially publicly with people, he's meeting behind the scenes with people or celebrating private masses. You hear about it later and you think, how is this man doing it? And then he gets back to Rome and he starts with his regular schedule of meetings the next day.
I don't know where he gets that energy. I do, the Holy Spirit, right?
That's right.
So that's probably what happens, right?
You really do see it.
Well, we are just delighted to have you here in Washington, and I love your reports from Rome, and I'm looking forward to working with you more in the future.
Well, thank you so much. Nice to be here.